and welcome to Whether or Not. I'm your host, Luke Snyder, joined by forecaster Filippo Formica. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been quite ready to break out some of these sweaters and a couple of those pumpkin spice lattes, but it's been a little bit unusually warm. Are we going to get a chance to break out those sweaters in the forecast period?
Luke, I don't think sweater weather is here just yet. We're still expecting some abnormally warm conditions throughout this forecast period.
Perfect. Well, we'll hear more about that in just a few more moments, but up first, here is Nature in the News. Following the massive 1980 eruption, Mount St. Helens is still firing up leftover ash, over 45 years after its major explosion. In March of 1980, a series of volcanic eruptions began at Mount St. Helens in Skamania County, Washington. These two blasts continued for 2 months, and on May 18th, a massive explosion occurred, sending smoke columns up 80,000 feet and depositing ash in 11 U.S. states and several Canadian provinces. On Tuesday, it looked like a blast from the past, with a plume of smoke over Mount St. Helens, but fortunately, it was just a decades-late encore. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, strong easterly gusts blew across the nearby slopes in the southern Washington Cascades, stirring up old deposits of ash from the 1980 eruption. The agency emphasized that this is not a sign of renewed volcanic activity and that the volcano remains at normal background levels. The impacts of overturned volcanic ash are often not hazardous, and luckily, the plume should fade once winds calm down.
A dangerous encounter on the trails of Yellowstone National Park. Over the weekend, a hiker was attacked by a bear, prompting officials to shut down a popular trail. The hiker was injured, but fortunately survived, thanks in part to quick emergency response. Park officials have not yet confirmed whether it was a grizzly or a black bear, but they did say the animal acted defensively, likely surprised by the hiker's presence. This closure is a reminder that Yellowstone is not just a tourist destination, it's a wild ecosystem. Visitors are urged to stay alert, hike in groups, carry bear spray, and keep a safe distance from all wildlife. As fall brings more visitors to the park, officials stress respecting the natural environment isn't just about safety for you, but also for the animals that call Yellowstone home.
Bus shelters are in for a wicked rebrand, and they're going green for a better climate. A green bus stop movement is aiming to add mini gardens to the tops of bus shelters, primarily to counteract the urban heat islands. Green roofs can provide more shade than clear glass roofs, and they don't absorb and re-emit heat the way blacktop roofs do. These installations were first introduced in the Netherlands, where nearly 1,000 green stops have already been installed. Slowly spreading through Europe, these garden bus stops are now making their way to the US. Boston currently has the largest collection in the country, with 2 towns in Maryland expected to begin installations later this year. These innovative shelters aim to change how people think about urban vegetation, and on a large enough scale, they could even start to have real environmental effects.
You may have noticed it if you've stepped outside lately. Lawns are browning, streams are running low, and rain has been hard to come by. Across much of the Commonwealth, drought conditions are starting to take hold after what has been an unusually dry stretch. In State College and Altoona, the period between August 1st and September 15th went down as the driest on record. And it wasn't just us. Cities across Pennsylvania also felt the impact. Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Williamsport, and Pittsburgh all landed in the top 15 driest stretches for that same period. The lack of rainfall isn't just a number on paper. It has real impacts. For one, our fall foliage may not be as vibrant this year. Without enough water, the leaves can turn duller shades of brown and fall off sooner than usual. Farmers are also feeling the effects, with corn and pumpkin harvests expected to be smaller and less fruitful than normal. During this dry time, please be sure to be mindful when starting any fires and to follow proper fire control protocols. It has been a very dry stretch of weather since August 1st here in Pennsylvania, and that dry stretch is going to continue this weekend. Let's start out with our surface map on Friday. You may notice a cold front draped across the Commonwealth, but no rain on this image right now, and that's because of how dry it has been over the last 45 days. It's been so dry in our atmospheric column that all we're going to see due to this cold front is an increase in cloud cover. Very similar to last weekend on Saturday, where as the Penn State football game, if you were there, progressed, we saw more cloud cover moving into the region, but no drops actually fell. That's a very similar situation as we have on Friday. To the north, we'll see more sunny skies, and that will lead to a tad warmer conditions because of that daytime heating. Our main player for the weather this weekend is going to be this high pressure parked up here in the Great Lakes region and in southern Canada. That is going to be the dominant factor this weekend in keeping us dry. We have another high pressure parked off to our south and west, and that's going to be bringing in moisture and humidity to areas of the Ohio River Valley and the central United States, where a storm system will be brewing and bringing some rain to the western Great Lakes region throughout the day on Saturday. Warm front draped across the region there, but we're not going to be seeing many of those impacts here in Pennsylvania because this high pressure is so dominant, and we'll be seeing just enough of that high pressure taking place that we'll see mostly sunny skies across much of the Commonwealth, and we'll be staying dry. And as we flip the calendar into Sunday, because of how dominant this high pressure is, we're in a very blocking pattern, and these high pressures are extremely dominant. This low pressure system that's way off in Minnesota will be staying put practically throughout this weekend, leaving all the rain that it would be much beneficial for our farmers out there to our west. And that rain will persist. Our warm front draped across the Commonwealth in western Pennsylvania. And I do think the further west you go on Sunday, the more cloud cover there will be. A cold front draped across Pennsylvania, areas south of Pennsylvania still on Sunday, but because of this high pressure system, we will be remaining dry. So let's break this down for our weekend forecast. 80 degrees our high on Friday, mostly sunny skies. A great day to get out there and enjoy the middle to end of September like it is the middle of summer. And Friday night, if you're getting out there for any festivities, mostly clear skies and a low of 54. That's right around our average for this time of the year. So our high temperatures are going to be above average. Our low temperatures are going to be right around average. So that diurnal range, that difference between the high and the low pressure is very high, and that's due to how dry it has been. 80 degrees again on Saturday with partly sunny skies. Another great day to get outside and enjoy because winter is coming. Things are going to get a bit chillier here in the future. So take advantage of these days while you can. 55 Saturday night with a partly cloudy sky. And wash, rinse, repeat for Sunday, 79 degrees and partly cloudy skies. Up next, we have a feature by Rebecca Newell on how weather affects baking.
Do your baked goods ever just not turn out how they're supposed to? Good news is there's a chance it's not your fault, and it could be the atmosphere to blame.
Yeah, with baking, there's a number of factors that come into play. And really, the big issues it comes down to temperature is probably one of the big ones, and then humidity is probably the next.
Temperature is crucial to textures of all doughs when baking, but high heat is the absolute killer of flaky pastries and pie crust. A hot kitchen means that your dough might fall apart before it even hits the oven.
You know, if it's too hot in the room where you're making your scones, that butter gets all kind of soft and stuff. It'll be really difficult to get that conditions, so keeping it refrigerated and stuff. And then keeping your ingredients not only like the right temperature, but also, especially if you got high humidity, you don't want all that. It's a lot of stuff can start to stick together in those high conditions.
In cases of both high and low humidity, the evaporation rates of your baked goods are affected. During the summer, temperatures and humidities can soar.
It's really humid, like 90% or something like that. Then it becomes like everything gets kind of sticky, and you're not having good evaporation from your product. And it just things get a little bit more gummy.
That's right. Sticky air can make hours of waiting for bread to rise or dough to chill into a gummy mess. On the other hand, when the air dries and the holiday season rolls around, you can get too much evaporation, which will suck the joy out of your sweet treats.
low humidity. And generally, we're talking low humidity, probably lower than 30%. So it's really dry. And so you find that your evaporation rates in your product tends to get more drier.
Another atmospheric issue comes from the fact that most recipes that you'll find online do not account for high altitudes.
Low altitude, low pressure is a third. Probably not as big of an issue as it would be, if you went and you were about, whatever, a mile high, that's where you start to have that impact because of the lower air pressure. Again, you're going to have that expansion of the leavening, a lot faster. And it can cause a collapse in that. So you can adjust your leavening agents a little bit to reduce that, so it's not overly, causing the rapid gas to be produced, which can lead to collapse. So you can adjust for that.
No matter where or when you are baking, it only takes a few simple measures to set yourself up for sweet success. Keep your ingredients at the temperature your recipe suggests. Add less liquid when it's really humid or more when it's really dry. Research how your specific altitude impacts baking, and make sure your ingredients are fresh.
Leavening agents too, if they become moist, if they're not protected from moisture, they can become deactivated.
Keep these tips in mind the next time you bake, and it should come out a cut above the rest. For Whether or Not, I'm Rebecca Newell.
After a very dry weekend, we're going to be seeing much of the same in this extended forecast. But first, let's take a recap of your weekend forecast. The days are going to be much above average for our high temperatures, 80 degrees on both Friday and Saturday, 79 on Sunday, still well above average for this time of year, about 5 degrees above our averages. Mostly sunny skies on Friday. Our low of 54 is right around average for this time of the year. Saturday, partly sunny skies, a few more of those clouds increasing as that storm system nears but doesn't actually impact us. 55 degrees your low, and Sunday, wash, rinse, repeat. Another beautiful day to get outside with a low of 54 after that high of 79. For your extended forecast, we're going to be talking about a wash, rinse, repeat of the weekend, of the last 2 weeks, of the last 45 days. It has been incredibly dry, and this stretch of sunny weather and high pressure continues. Our average high for this time of the year is around 69 degrees. And we're going to be well above average, 5 to 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. As we step through next work week, we'll be seeing partly sunny skies on Monday with a high of 78. Tuesday, a little bit more sunshine, mostly sunny with a high of 77. Wednesday, the warmest day of the week, 79 degrees your high, those mostly sunny conditions staying in place. And as we get towards the latter half of the weekend, we'll start to see the clouds increase slightly for Thursday and Friday, as well as the temperature starting to go down slightly, but still well above average. 76 degrees your high on Thursday and 75 your high for our Friday. So another very dry week ahead, and not much in terms of rainfall coming up. But now here is your Weather Whiz quiz answer.
If you guessed letter C, 98 degrees, then you would be correct. That record was recorded in 1953 here in State College. Now, I know it's going to be unseasonably warm, but I don't think we're going to be seeing anything like the upper 90s for our temperatures this forecast.
No, not even close to the upper 90s, Luke. We'll be above average for this time of the year in the mid to upper 70s, but nowhere close to that 98.
Absolutely not. Well, thank you again for that forecast for this week. We'll be back again next week for another installment with Whether or Not.